Hi, y'all. This is Kristen Chenoweth.
Hi, I'm Gloria Stefan.
This is Sarah Bareilles.
Hi, I'm Patty Lapone.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Yellow, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Liz Eston.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Liz to like musicale theater. How are you doing today, Andrew?
Oh, man, you know, I have been better. I have been better.
Tell me about it, brother. I bet mine tops yours. You tell me what's wrong with you, and I'll tell you what's wrong with me.
Oh, man. It's really this whole thing, right? Like, I'm just kind of feeling down, and I'm also incredibly racist. And I just fell in love with this girl who's making me feel pretty conflicted because, you know, she isn't white.
What if this is someone's first episode?
Overly admitted to racism.
Just earnestly admitting that I'm incredibly racist in the first minute. So what's going on with you?
Yeah, what's going on with you, man? The trouble's you.
Well, I think I'm a pretty wonderful guy. I also happen to be French, and I have these two children I love from a dead wife. And I met this gal. She's a nurse. She's pretty into it. She likes washing her hair and all that jazz. But I asked her to marry me, and then she sees my children, and then is like super racist and won't marry me because of the race of my children.
You know what? It sounds like we should switch. We should switch, bro.
Yeah. How about we go on a life-threatening adventure where we're both probably gonna die?
That sounds like an excellent idea.
Yeah, have you guys the war going on? Do you want to talk about that?
No.
The war?
No,
really.
It doesn't really matter to our overall narrative. It's just kind of background fodder.
All right, I'm going to go fight a war then, apparently, because you two are too busy in your romantic entanglements.
We're both going to decide that racism is bad, and then at the same time be like, you know what? Let's die for the United States of America in the 1950s.
We did nothing wrong. In case you haven't picked up what we're throwing down, this week we are talking about Rodgers and Hammerstein's classic musical, South Pacific. Cue the music.
Bloody Mary is the girl I love. Bloody Mary is the girl I love. Bloody Mary is the girl I love. Now ain't that too damn bad?
So South Pacific is a musical written by Oscar Hammerstein II with music and lyrics by Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein II. The show is based on The Tales of the South Pacific by James A. Michener. South Pacific opened on Broadway on April 7, 1949 in the Majestic Theater. The advance sales was $400,000 and an additional $700,000 in sales were made after its opening. It ran for 1,925 performances on Broadway and ended its run on January 16, 1954, 5 years later. The show had new incarnations, including the hit 1958 movie version filmed in Hawaii, a made-for-TV movie followed in 2001, and South Pacific returned to Broadway in a 2008 revival. The plot of South Pacific is, can a girl from Little Rock find happiness with a mature French planter who she got to know one enchanted evening away from the military hospital where she is a nurse? Or should she just wash that man right out of her hair? Bloody Mary is a philosopher on the island, and it's hard to believe she could be the mother of Juliet, who captured the heart of Lieutenant Joseph Cable, USMC. While waiting for action in the war in the South Pacific, sailors and nurses put on a musical comedy show for Thanksgiving. The war gets closer and the saga of Nellie Forbush and Emile becomes serious drama. What a fucking wild show this is. So a little peek behind the curtain. I picked this because I'm like, hey, it's AAPI month. We should probably do something a little connected to that. And I'm like, maybe this. I'd never seen it. I've heard all the songs. I know of it. Boy, what a fucking mistake that was. My bad. Holy shit. South Pacific, it's an interesting one. And probably technically, so let's think about the context of when it came out. 1949, just a few years after World War II is wrapped up and doing a show about it. I mean, it's kind of like doing in 2018 doing a musical about the Iraq War or something like that. It would be a weird choice, and then doing it as a musical comedy. And the weirdest thing is it was kind of their rebound show after Allegro flopped hardcore. So they're like, we need a hit. And Joshua Logan, who is the director and kind of the one leading this charge, brought them involved and adapted this book, Tales from the South Pacific, which isn't really a story in the same way the musical is. So it's a bunch of different vignettes coming together in different parts. And originally they were just going to do the cable story where the man meets the Asian woman and falls in love, but also racism.
Which is more like a B plot in the actual show now.
Then they're like, well, they're going to think we're ripping off Madame Butterfly if we do that. So why don't we add this other thing with these other groups? So in the book, how am I going to go about this? The Nellie and Emile story is, instead of just him having a dead wife and 2 children, he has 8 children mothered by 8 different women.
Interesting.
None of them dead, but he just kind of impregnated a lot of women.
A French plantation owner, you say?
Oh, wait till you get to this part. And it's really weird when you listen to the audiobook describe this portion of it in Something Wonderful, that's the book about Rodgers and Hammerstein, where Nellie's first reaction to them is to call them all the N-word.
Oh, that's real nice.
Like, that is her descriptor of them because they are of mixed race.
Wow.
Wow, how progressive.
And this book was a hit, and it was thought of as like this big progressive thing because she eventually learns to not be racist. Not as racist, which I think they carry over those themes. Like, they tone it down a bit. Now he just has 2 kids, but man, this show is rough, and its history is rough.
It's a weird show because I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that when this came out, it probably genuinely was progressive.
Yes.
Like, portraying a show where racism is overcome in 1949 and showing that as like a good thing, like probably at least mildly progressive. I mean, this was like, we're talking like segregation era, like,
yes.
So, this portrays interracial relationships as a positive. The strange thing about it is, though, nowadays, this isn't even a discussion. Like, people don't even, like, when was the last time you heard anyone who was against interracial relationships? Using that term sounds antiquated to me. I don't know.
The only one I can think of is like a Nick Fuentes, but he is not a human, but a goblin.
Like, we're like, at that point, you're talking about people who are so far right that they're not mainstream.
Like right-wing extremists are using it, but not like most people.
Yeah, so like, this is essentially now a show that appears to us to have main characters who are effectively far-right extremists. Like...
And when you hear people talk about this show, they don't talk about the message. They talk about the painting on the walls. They talk about the Some Enchanted Evenings. They talked about the You Have to Be Taught. They talk about the fun fact, Mary Martin actually washed her hair 8 times a week on the stage while she's singing, wash that man right out of my hair. Like, they talk about that stuff. And even if we are talking more negative, they talk about the weird film adaptation in the intense vignetting and the color tinting, which is a baffling choice for that movie. Anytime a song starts, it's like they just drop like an orange filter on top of the screen.
It's like Breaking Bad in Mexico.
It's worse than Breaking Bad in Mexico, but yes.
Okay, I found an archive of the book online, like a full archive. I found the section where Nellie finds out about the kids. I'm not going to read it out loud. It is really bad.
Did I undersell it?
You did not undersell it. It is really fucking bad.
Don't read that book, kids.
Don't read it. Don't be me. It's really bad. I can't even read it.
Yeah. So the history is not pleasant. And I think we talked previously about shows we can kind of leave where it was, like educate about it, enjoy the songs, because I do think the songs are great in this, but kind of leave it in the past. I feel like we were a little too hard on Carousel, because I still think Carousel has a place even with its narrative in a modern context. This one, I don't think even a brilliant mind could interpret this and have it really be as powerful now as it was back then.
Beyond just the message, there's like other aspects of this show that are very not good. Namely, like I would say, like the Bloody Mary character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know what you do with that. Like as a plot element. And then of course,
describe her for us, please. Like, I feel like I'm assuming a lot of youngs are listening to this episode and not folks that really have an intense knowledge of this show.
Loud, broken English stereotype.
And I don't think they weren't often, or I don't see many recorded instances where this Polynesian character was actually played by a Polynesian or even Asian actor. In fact, I'm pretty sure Juanita Lee originated the role. Juanita Hall, I'm sorry. And they are a black woman. And then they went on to play the role in the movie and were dubbed by someone else, which is strange. And then I keep harping on this because I am baffled. As recent as 2006, when South Pacific was performed, I believe at the Carnegie Hall, they, instead of having Asian performers, they cast black women, Lilas White.
Yeah.
As a tradition thing, maybe?
Yes, but then they also put, like, look at this. Like, this is their version of Polynesians. It's baffling to me. And they are speaking in broken English. Instead of true, they say twoo. Like, that's the kind of.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not that broken English isn't like a real thing in the real world or whatever, but
yeah,
it's just like, there is not very many roles for Asian women on Broadway. So
yeah,
to have this be like one of them, and then it's not even generally cast by Asian women, and it's like a broken English stereotype of a role, like, and then her daughter doesn't even have any lines. Not even like broken English or anything, just like nothing, just an absolute nothing of a character.
She can speak like a little French, but there's still a language barrier.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I'm some sort of like expert on what is and what isn't good representation, but I feel like I can comfortably say this is probably not good representation.
No, I would agree with that. And I feel like it feels very white men fuckery, I think is the best way to describe this show. It's like, no, we know what's best. Like, yeah, we know you deserve something. Like, don't enjoy the scraps we're throwing at you, basically.
And I don't want to apply intentionality to this, because I think that Rodgers, Hammerstein, and probably other people who worked on the show, honestly, they probably thought that they were being progressive and pushing the boundaries, and they probably were at the time.
This show won the Pulitzer, yes.
It's more just like, do we need to continue to perform it now? And I think my answer to that is probably no. Like, it doesn't feel like something that has any relevance today, and any progressive value we have moved so far past that now the progressivism of this show feels regressive because it's so far behind where we are now.
Yeah, apparently the racial themes provoked controversy at the time, especially in the southern U.S. And of course. The authors were very apologetic.
Pushing boundaries for that.
Yeah. And
it was a hit. Like, this is not only just like, a well-regarded show that won the Pulitzer and got like all this. It was a massive hit on Broadway. It ran for a very long time. It has a very important kind of milestone as far as capitalism go. It is the first Broadway show that like sold merchandise. Like you could get a South Pacific tie and a South Pacific hat, and now that is a full part of the Broadway revenue stream of today.
There's always a merch table.
Yeah, always a merch shop.
It's weird that this is the one that did it.
So I'm like torn on this show, like genuinely, because it's like this is like to say like this shouldn't be performed anymore is like it feels wrong because it is like a historic show by like Rodgers and Hammerstein, who are like very famous, and like the songs are genuinely really good, and it's like, how do you just never perform this again? But like honestly, I don't see a place for it. I don't know.
It sounds diminishing, especially like it is an important part of Broadway history in every form. But
do you just allow that to like, well, it's important to Broadway history, so we can just keep performing this show with its stereotypes, with its overrepresentation of the white man perspective, with its empathizing with people who are blatantly racist.
Yeah.
Like, do we just need to continue performing this forever because, well, it is just historical and traditionally very good. And I'm not even going to argue that it's a bad show. Like most of this is very good. It fits everything that like a classic musical is. It's just like, why does it have to be about this? And I guess maybe we're wrong. Maybe this isn't the best way to go about this. This maybe there are other people who are more tuned into how to correctly push these type of values, and this show is totally fine to keep performing, but it just feels wrong to me. I don't know.
Fair enough. Liz, I put out a tweet earlier today asking just general public people what they think of the show, how they think it's aged, all that jazz, and what was the overall consensus there?
The consensus from the people of Twitter is like, it's bad, but we're not discussing it fully. It's like no one's saying why it's bad. Like it's a fun show. They performed in high school. Apparently, someone did this in high school with no Asian students at their school. So,
boy, that's great.
Yeah, good. We love that. But yeah, it's a great show, but there's a lot of issues, which I fully agree with.
Specifically the Lilius White one I just showed you guys. I go into the comments expecting like, can't believe we did this, like weird thing that happened. Everyone's just like, she's awesome, queen. Her voice is what dreams are made of, and I'm like, no, everyone's avoiding the elephant in the room, like, which is just the really the uncomfortable tropes, like not even just like, you know, the generalized kind of racist representation, and tropes going on there. And I don't know, like those characters, and when they are present, I just feel sick. I feel gross and sick, even in the more recent production with Kelly O'Hara. Like, even when they are played by actual Asian performers, I'm just like, it just feels wrong in a way that other musicals that have iffy histories, like, say, Miss Saigon, doesn't in that way, because I feel like the authors are still alive to make changes and adapt with the time. And that's one of the beautiful things about theater. And Sondheim often championed and often did himself in his work, which is like, you know, times have changed. We don't talk like that anymore, so let's change it up. And maybe we could do something like that with South Pacific. And I feel like I remember all the pearl clutching when they did the 2019 Oklahoma revival, where they didn't change a fucking word of text. They just changed the intentionality and the vibe. And everyone's like, they're spitting on the graves of Rodgers and Hammerstein. And now I'm like, no one will ever do anything interesting with this if that's the attitude that we're going through these with.
Yeah, I don't, like, for one, we have like filmed versions of the original, how the show was
at
originally
least 3
performed. In like a movie, and like you know, that stuff exists. If you want to just watch that version, you can. And I'm not saying we need to like ban that or like, oh, we gotta get rid of that. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, no, you can perform that way if you want to. I just don't know if we need to be like putting this on Broadway in that form anymore. You know, like if your community theater does it, like, okay.
Yeah, go for it.
We should be trying to find people who could make bigger changes to it. I just like, how do you make it feels like it's too much about the topics that it fails to modernize. Like, I don't know how you could do it, but I'm not a visionary like that. So maybe somebody has like great ideas.
I mean, someone probably has an idea what to do with this material. Like, that could make it work. Like, reframe something. There's things that can change here, but the base is fine. It's just, it was progressive when it came out, but it's been a while. Like, things have changed a lot. Like, we can make it just as progressive, but we have to change it. We can't just keep it the same, like with Rent, which we haven't touched since 1990 something.
And it's absolutely not spitting on their graves. They wanted it to be progressive. That was their intention. So they probably, if they were still around somehow today, but like if they were somehow, they probably would want it to continue to be progressive, right? Like they wouldn't just want to leave it.
They'd probably rewrite it if they were alive to rewrite it with the current politics. Like, but they're very dead, so they can't do that.
That being said, I do kind of want to travel in our time machine back to 2008 because Ben Brantley, our buddy, wrote a review of the 2008 revival, which is actually the revival version that we all watched with Kelly O'Hara. Mm-hmm. And I find this review fascinating. Not even in our usual Ben Brantley, let's meme on him kind of way. I just actually find it like I want to say it up front. Ben Brantley fucking loves this show and has a huge soft spot for this show. And like
makes sense to me.
He is a human.
And that's great. And I look at the Wikipedia page for South Pacific, and it's all just like Ben Brantley defenses of every production over the last 20 years.
This is the hill he dies on, South Pacific?
I think so.
Jesus Christ.
But he does make some interesting points here, so I do want to talk about this. So the title was Optimists Awash in the Tropics by Ben Brantley, April 4th, 2008, for the New York Times. Love blossoms fast and early, and Bartlett Sher's rapturous.
You asshole.
Rapturous revival of Rodgers and Hammerstein South Pacific, which opened on Thursday at the Vivian Beaumont Theater at the Lincoln Center. And while you might think, but this is so sudden, you don't doubt for a second that it's the real thing. I could feel the people around me leaning in toward the stage as if it were a source of warmth on a raw, damp day. And that warmth isn't the sympathetic fire, can-do cheer of wholesomeness associated, not always correctly, with Rodgers and Hammerstein. It's the fire of daily life, with all its cross-currents and ambiguities, underscored and clarified by music. It is also the show in which the creators wear their liberal consciousnesses most visibly. In following two love stories, both between people of different cultures, South Pacific made an overt plea for racial tolerance. Few things in showbiz date more quickly than progressive politics, which is an interesting thought. And that specific quote, like, few things in showbiz date more quickly than progressive politics, because he's fucking right.
Well, it's like, it's just a situation where if you're progressive today, in 10 years, you are not progressive
look
anymore.
Racist.
Yeah.
Because you're discussing the thing that we've already moved past, and we've already, like, you're bringing it back up for some reason. Why are you bringing it back up? But it's like, well, I'm not. I made this 10 years ago.
Like, we've discussed queer people different, like, every 5-10 years. Like, the terms change, things get scrapped, things get added, like,
while they did exist when I was in high school, the trans people weren't really in the conversation yet, like as far as LGBT rights yet, because we're still working on gay marriage. And we've come so far, and now a lot of things feel a little bit transphobic because they just weren't in the conversation yet from the early 2010s.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there was a shit ton of like 2000s comedies that are just overtly transphobic, but
yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so let's continue. I know we're not supposed to expect perfection in this imperfect world, but I'm darned if I can't find one serious flaw in this production. Yes, the second act remains weaker than the first, but Mr. Scher almost makes you forget that. All the supporting performances, including those of the ensemble, feel precisely individualized, right down to how they wear the Catherine Zuber's carefully researched period costume. Notice, by the way, how Mr. Schur implicitly underscores the theme of racism by quietly having the few African-American sailors in the company keep apart from the others, and the production never strains to evoke parallels between the then and now in the United States in a war in an alien land. Above all, though, what impresses about the South Pacific is how deeply, fallibly, and poignantly human every character seems. Nearly 60 years ago, Brooks Atkinson's writing in the New York Times described the show as a tenderly beautiful idyll of genuine people inexplicably tossed together in a strange corner of the world. I think a lot of us have forgotten that's what South Pacific is really about. In making the past feel unconditionally present, this production restores a glorious gallery of a genuine people who were only waiting to be resurrected. I think this is probably one of my favorite Ben Brantley reviews. Like, I don't agree with it, really, but I find it compelled. I find myself compelled by it.
He's just being really genuine here, which I don't feel like he always is.
Like, it felt like he genuinely has a love and a connection to this show, and it's coming out here in ways that, I don't know, he never expected.
Not one word about who was sitting next to him.
Yeah. Not one random word he looked up on a thesaurus to sound smarter.
Yeah, and I wish New York Times reviews were more like this. And I hate to kind of go off of what we were actually having a conversation about and make it about this, but this show does compel people in big ways. And while not us, it is interesting to think about. That's like a real Doug Walker opinion there. Like, well, you know... It's interesting to think about.
I almost disagree. I almost feel like we do have big feelings about this show. They just happen not to all be positive.
Yeah.
Like this show definitely does make me think, and I feel like it's good. It's a good show for a lot of reasons, and it's my critiques of it aren't even necessarily that it's bad or that it didn't make me feel anything. It's more just like I just don't know if it should be performed in its current state in the modern day.
Yeah, like with Andrew, it did make me think, but a lot of the thought was like, is this good representation in the mid-2000s? And is this good representation now? And I can't answer that 100% as I'm a very white person, but like, it's a discussion.
And we might even sound very ignorant right now, like truly.
Yeah.
And I want to welcome people to let us know and educate us. If like, if I had thought more than a week about this, I would have invited someone like Grace Aki or Kelly Lynn Hayes, and I should have probably. And I feel like maybe I shouldn't admit that, but that's the way that this podcast sometimes has to be. And we're left to the discussions that we can kind of have between ourselves.
Fellas, I didn't even finish college, okay? I am not a philosopher or a sociologist.
Which is another thing that you and I talked about is someone says that we do reviews or calls us critics, and that is not what we are, and it actively bothers me when people refer to us as
we
that.
used to be a lot more clear about it, and we kind of stopped at a certain point because so many people started just saying that we're reviews, but you know what? No, it's time to push back again. We don't fucking review shit. I've watched this one time. I watched this one time, and it wasn't even in person. I'm just giving my thoughts on what I saw here. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a review.
I would describe this as a working man's theater enjoyer. Like, you can listen to it, enjoy it one night when you're at home and have an opinion and develop thoughts on it. That's kind of the joy, at least I was trying to do with this podcast.
And sure, we make fun of critics, but like also critics do more work than we do.
And they went to school for it.
So, you know, we can make fun of and disagree with critics, but on a certain level, like, sometimes they're probably more right than we are, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, we're not studying this, like, extensively. I watched this today. Like...
I will say, I did watch 5 versions of this.
Yeah, Jess watched 5.
Jess is the guy that does the...
Yeah, Jess watched the extra. Andrew and I just watch the one he sends, and then that's all we do.
I usually do that, and I'll listen to the
album.
Soundtrack a bit, or the album.
I'll usually Google the show a little bit so I know what's up, and I can see a plot summary.
But we're not experts, and nor do we ever claim to be. We are enthusiasts, I think, is the best way to describe us.
I majored in television. I'm not qualified to do this.
I majored in music. I'm not qualified to do anything.
I majored in film, so together we're almost one effective theater maker. Speaking of effective reviewers, how about we compare our opinions to those of the actual critics, the ones on Letterboxd.com? It's time for previews.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
I'm glad that we read these real reviews during our show.
Yes.
Since we don't have reviews, these are the real critics.
Yeah, these are the reviews. These are peak. So in case this is your first episode, these are real Letterboxd reviews from the Letterboxd.com. And they are either a 1-star or 5-star. And Liz and Andrew have to go head-to-head guessing whether they're a 1-star or 5-star based on nothing but the review alone. Are you ready, you guys?
Yeah.
Ready to review.
Liz, you're first.
I'm ready to lose.
Happy talk! In all caps.
Oh, that's a quote from the movie. 5.
That is correct.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yeah.
The letter A. One capital letter A.
Oh, they forgot to write the review.
No. This is the full review. They're doing a tier list. Think about it. It's A tier.
Right.
5 stars.
Andrew, you're right.
Genius. Damn.
I just know these things. This is why I am a real critic, actually. I'm taking everything back. These are real reviews.
I was literally the president of a film magazine for a year, and I was barely a real critic then.
Liz.
Yes.
This movie made me think that interracial marriage ain't all bad.
That's positive, I suppose.
That's a 5?
I love the very specific phrasing of ain't all bad.
Maybe they're from Arkansas.
They're like, no, sometimes it's okay.
5 is right.
Sometimes.
Andrew.
Yeah?
My eyes! What the fuck?
It's probably
So for
referring to the
clarity.
Vaseline filter, I think, right?
Lowercase my, capitalized eyes, and then all one word, lowercase what, and then uppercase the fuck.
So
And
they
yes,
were
that is
high writing this. Okay.
That was in response to the filters and the vignettes and just the eyesore that is the movie.
Look up close in the movie. It's wild.
You feel like you're watching a movie through, like you're watching Spy Kids 3D, but you forgot to put on the glasses.
Cake.
Okay, so it's one of two things. It's either this is a trick review where you got this and you're like, okay, he's going to say 1 because this is a 5. Or it's a real review and it's a 1-star because they're genuinely saying that their eyes were in pain looking at this shit. And I have to just guess. This is like a true 50-50. So let's see.
He's just scratching his beard now.
Let's see. Heads, it's 5. Tails, it's 1.
Oh, we're actually flipping a coin. Amazing.
It's 1. This is a 1.
That is correct.
Damn it, the
The
coin's
coin
right.
never lies.
I need a coin. Have a coin.
Liz, you ready?
I'm ready. I have my fidget cube to determine the answer.
Lieutenant Joseph Cable, not for the win. He did almost marry a kid, 2 frowny faces and 3 thumbs downs.
Was she underage in the movie?
She's 15 years old.
Oh, she's 15?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
we
I
didn't
didn't
even
realize she
discuss.
was
We didn't
15.
even discuss that part of it. Like
Oh,
he can't
God.
communicate with her, and she's definitely like a teenager.
And she's underage? Oh, no. Oh, boy.
What is it, the Romeo and Juliet law from Transformers 4?
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
God.
Oh, God. He had it printed out and laminated in that scene, too. He was ready.
Mark Wahlberg was, who did it? Like the boyfriend?
No, it was the boyfriend of the daughter of Mark Wahlberg. I
That's
don't
a
know.
red flag if he
I don't
had that ready.
Yeah, he had it ready to go.
Mark Wahlberg is a red flag.
Wahlberg is a walking red flag. He is from Boston.
There's an entire section of his Wikipedia page called hate crimes.
That's true. I did check that when he said that.
Damn, that's funky.
What a funky bunch. 1 star.
That was a 5, Liz.
Damn! I was doing so good.
Andrew.
Yeah.
The original running time is near 3 hours.
That is too long. We're gonna say 1 star.
That is incorrect. That is a 5. Liz.
Should have went with the coin.
Yes. Sorry, I went to Mark Wahlberg's Wikipedia, and the first paragraph is terrible. of the legal issues section.
Oh, it's not called hate crimes anymore?
No, it's called legal issues.
Okay. It used to be called hate crimes.
He went in and edited it.
He fixed it. I didn't commit hate crimes. I had legal issues.
Yeah, I just had some legal. I had some legal issues. You know, I
popped my cock.
Hey guys, how many racial slurs do you think appear on Mark Wahlberg's Wikipedia page?
Too many.
Almost as many as the novel Tales from South Pacific. Liz, when your boyfriend's Asian kids cause you to have a mental breakdown.
Oh God. Damn, that lady was racist. 5.
That's a 1.
Damn.
Andrew, you could win this here.
Okay, I think I got it.
The guys singing "There Ain't Nothing Like a Dame" were hilarious, because not one of them looks straight.
I've seen that clip. They do look very gay.
One of them is voiced by Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, I knew that.
We're gonna
Thurl
go
Ravenscroft.
we're gonna go with 5. We're gonna go with 5.
That is a 1, and you guys tied. Congratulations on neither of you winning.
Damn. You know,
This is the
I gave it my
closest I've
best.
come to winning this entire show. This is amazing. I'll take it.
All right. Speaking of our winners, how about we go into our mid-show and talk about Patreon and stuff?
Hey guys, we've got a shill at you, as Jess always says. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors at Patreon. What goes on over at Patreon, Liz?
There's so much on Patreon. We have some commentaries. You can see our lovely faces while we record these episodes, and they're extended. The School of Rock episode, the extended cut, definitely worth joining the Patreon alone. We have bonus content. We have a whole extra podcast where Jess and I talk about Has Been Hotel, and we have an awesome Discord server. You can talk to all our fellow Patreon supporters, and it's a good time. We chat, we hang out, and we all have fun.
That is excellent, and now I'm going to tell you who our current patrons are, starting with Melissa Goldman, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacey Coon, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, AC, Evan Ball, Zachary Torres, Aurora Marasso, Mara, Lisa L, Possessed Washing Machine, Scootin' the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, John Vanals, Thespian, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Chris Marcotte, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Trevi Joseph, RJ Noriga, Julia McLennan, Nick Roten, Puffy Boy, Annabelle, Billy Clifton, Gold-Plated Kiki Mora, Julia Baldersdaughter, Bjorn Hermans, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Adequate Amount Jacobson, Kaylee Blazier, Villainous Miss, Sofina Ali, The Omega Geek, Paige Pearson, Maddie Wargle, Eliza Erdman, Anna Loskatova, Sarah Den Blaker, Emma, Kara Balda, Socialist Whore, and JRL Studios.
They all give us money to keep life going over there on Patreon, you know, and we get some cool stuff. Come on, cowpokes, and join us over there on Patreon, little doggies. The thing we didn't really highlight much in our first discussion is this show is all bangers, no skips.
Yeah, it's a lot of good songs all the way through, really.
A lot of classics.
The songs, like I can't think of anything that's wrong with any of them, really. It's just good all the way through.
I do have like fun anecdotes about some of the songs, because you know I'm a Rodgers and a Hammerstein guy in my heart. I know some shit about them. Like, let's talk about Twin Soliloquies for a brief moment.
Wonder how I'd feel living on a hillside, looking on an ocean beautiful and still.
This is what I need. This is what I've longed for. Someone young and smiling, climbing up my hill.
We are not alike. Probably I'd bore him. He's a cultured Frenchman. I'm a little hick.
Younger men than I, officers and doctors, probably pursue her. She could have her pick.
Wonder why I feel jittery and jumpy. I am like a schoolgirl waiting for a dance.
Can I ask her now? I am like a schoolboy. What will be her answer? Do I have a chance?
So this is kind of a song out of convenience and out of competition. So Mary Martin did not want to basically compete in a song with her co-star, because she's like, well, no, if you do a duet, then we're just going to be fighting for attention. So they just wrote these two separate parts, so they're never together, really. Which is
a duet without a duet.
thing. Yeah, like they all have their bits and they do their bits separate.
Also, his actor's name was Ezio Pinza.
Yes.
That was his name.
Yeah, he was the original Broadway version of Emile, and yeah, Mary Martin's an interesting figure. So this was her first Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. Wouldn't be her last, but it was like the first time she joined that clan. And I want to go out of my way and say that she might be a queer icon, in my opinion.
I don't think any queer people would disagree with you.
Like, I'm pretty sure she was a closeted lesbian. Like, I there's a lot of speculative information and people that claim to have had relationships with her later on in life where I'm like, you know what? We should probably reclaim her as like one of the most important LGBT figures of the 20th century, in my opinion.
Yeah, her biographer said that her husband was her best friend and her gay straight cover. And many actors have said she is a lesbian, but she has not confirmed it personally.
Well, she's dead now.
Well, when she was alive, she didn't confirm it.
Every song written for Nellie Forbush is really good. A Cockeyed Optimist specifically feels like one of those podunk country songs that you really like, and it is got that country twang.
I hear the human race is falling on its face and hasn't very far to go. But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart, but I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart.
So I had to do this because my mom is the biggest Reba McEntire fan of all time. And Reba played Nellie in the 2006 production with all that weird race stuff that we talked about previously. And against Brian Stokes Mitchell and Jason Daniely. Great
And
cast
Alec
outside.
Baldwin.
He's not great. He was in 30 Rock at the time. They were just trying to synergy.
Yes.
But Cockeyed Optimist is just kind of one of those songs where you get her naivete, you get her cocksure attitude, and you get where she's coming from. And it's good musical theater storytelling. It's great musical theater storytelling while still being a song. And I hate sounding like, oh, things used to be so good, because obviously it wasn't. But man, we just don't really get songs like this outside of like maybe Shucked, but nothing that effectively tells story and character the way that this does. And it makes me sad inside.
Was the Reba version good? Did you listen to it?
Oh, I did. Reba killed it. Like, this is like made for Reba McEntire's voice. Like, she's not much of an actor, and I'm sorry to everyone that's like a big fan of the Reba sitcom. She's a great sitcom actor, but I think that's as far as her range goes.
I think they're a bigger fan of the theme song. So,
a single mom who works too hard and loves her kid and never stops. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's my mom's comfort show is the Reba McEntire show. So yeah.
Well, it's on Netflix, so she must be thrilled.
She is, but for Christmas I got her the DVDs for when the power's out, and she could watch it even when we don't have internet.
Damn, you are the best son.
Yeah. So, was there any songs in here that you knew about or heard before seeing this?
Wash that man right out of my hair.
I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair and send him on his way. Get the picture? All right. I'm gonna wave that man right out of my arms. I'm gonna wave that man right out of my arms. I'm gonna wave that man right out of my arms and send him on his way. Don't try to patch it up, tear it up, tear it up. Wash him out, dry him out, push him out, fly him out. Cancel him and let him go. Yeah, sister, I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair and send him on his way.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that one before?
I don't know. It was around like in random places online. I think I watched a video about South Pacific like forever ago during the Channel Awesome consumption days.
Was it Pa Duggan?
It was Pa Dugan. Yes, but I remember that video did not stick with me at all. But that one song about washing men out of your hair just really hit me when I was 16 and single and sad. It's just like, damn, men suck. Yeah, but it's a good song. Like,
this could be a TikTok song.
It should be a TikTok song.
It should be a TikTok song.
It really should be a TikTok song.
Gonna wash. I like when the guy does it later on as well.
Yeah, that was really funny. I didn't even...
Do you think he didn't know? I feel like he knew.
So this was inspired by Mary Martin's notion of actually shampooing her hair while singing a song, something she'd never seen anyone do. So she did it 8 times a week. But the problem is when they were singing this song, no one, like Rodgers and Hammerstein would be in previews like, why are they not enjoying the song at all? And the director came up to them and it's like, yeah, it's because they're murmuring, asking if she's actually fucking shampooing her hair, and they're too distracted by that to actually pay attention to the song. So they had to change the staging and have her do one full verse before starting to wash her hair. So she does it later, so at least they have the song in their head before they start debating, oh God, is she actually doing it?
Gotcha.
And in our production with Kelly O'Hara, man, that woman's got long hair and she's nailing it and she's got energy and she's doing backflips. I feel like that performance alone is really, really incredible. And I'm used to her playing like stoic, kind of serious roles like Bridges of Madison County and Carousel. And seeing her in this role where she gets to actually look like she's enjoying herself, it's a breath of fresh air. Until, the racism.
I liked this song, and I liked that they immediately went from this song to I'm in love with a wonderful guy.
Yeah. I love how she's like, I'm done with this man. The man shows up. I want to marry you. What are your politics? I think people should have freedom. Okay, I'll marry you.
Oh, okay. We didn't talk about, like, on the first date, she's like, oh, why are you here? I killed a guy. Oh, that's fine. But Asian kids, get out of here.
Okay, I mean, well, she's just like the original true crime podcaster.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the best part is the army general's like, this man killed someone. Aren't you concerned, Nellie? She's like, nah, he seems nice.
He must have had a good reason because he's like handsome.
It's fine. Let me get some info. And then Cable's like, you got to be careful. He killed a guy and he wants to break up. Then she wants to break up with him.
I feel like we never really get a good explanation of who he killed.
Yeah, who did he kill?
I'm guessing he killed like a Nazi or something.
Oh, no, wait. It is explained. I will find it. You guys keep talking.
A weird plot point to just throw in, though. Like, when they do explain it,
he hates bullies and he killed a bully. So I don't know what he means by that.
Is he like Cool Cat?
He's like Cool Cat.
He
He saves the kids, dude. He saves the kids.
He did save the kid.
Hey everybody, it's me, Juliet, and I've got a fantastic story to tell you.
Does that mean no? Or is he Daddy Derek?
He's not Daddy Derek.
Oh, he accidentally killed someone when he was a youth in France when they fought.
I assume that's just kind of every French person I've ever met has a vibe that they probably killed someone.
Yeah.
But A Wonderful Guy, yeah, it's a goofy song, but it also shows how flaky and flighty Nelly is. Like, she kind of just listens. She's like Forrest Gump. She just does what she's told by the person most recently talking to them.
You know what I mean? She's young and dumb and from Arkansas.
Yeah, she's from Arkansas.
Okay, but the one line that actually got a good chuckle out of me, which is when Cable's like, I don't know if she'd be interested in this guy. He's 44.
There's the age.
Yes, you're just upset about that because you just turned 40, dude. Like, come on.
Jess is old as fuck, y'all.
Yeah. Can we talk about Happy Talk?
Fine.
Happy talk, keep talking, happy talk. Talk about things you like to do. You got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna have a dream come true? Talk about the moon floating in the sky, looking like a lily on a lake. Talk about a bird learning how to fly, making all the music he can make. Happy talk, keep talking, happy talk. Talk about things you like to do. You got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna have a dream come true?
Do we have to?
Do we have to talk about Happy Talk?
It's rough.
They literally say dweem the entire song.
It's dweem, and it's written that way because Rodgers and Hammerstein, back from their days on Oklahoma, write phonetically the way they want it to be spoken. So, yes. So they write the accent into their lyrics. So, like, the becomes DE, so making all the music he can make, and instead of peeking through the branches, it's peeking through the branches.
I feel like what gets me about this is it's not just that it's broken English. It feels like it's broken English it's like wrong though. Yeah. Like I feel like this isn't how someone, because it's kind of implied that they speak French, right? Like they're from like Vietnam and they speak French. Yeah. Why would they have this like almost like Jamaican style accent when they try to speak English?
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense, does it? You know?
No, I want to say not much of it makes sense.
It's just kind of like a stereotypical broken English, like something you'd see in like a sitcom from the 90s, like The Simpsons or something.
It feels like something Trey Parker and Matt Stone would do.
Yeah.
In Team America World Police. I just thought of this now.
Or Book of Mormon.
Or Book of Mormon even, yeah. But like, it feels like it was written by a white person who's only ever met white people. And it's just like, let me just speculate on how these people talk.
Yeah, broken English, it would just sound like normal English, but like they would just be wrong sometimes. And it's just like, no, it would sound like their language mixed with English. Like that they're trying to speak English, but they're translating it from their language. That's how, like, I don't know.
Can I show you a cover of this song that turned out to be a UK #1 hit?
I would love that.
By Captain Sensible.
Captain Sensible?
Talk about the moon floating in the sky, looking like a lily on a lake. Talk about the bird learning music he can make. Happy talk, keep talking happy talk. Talk about things you like to do. You got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna have a dream come true?
Yeah, it does kind of look like something that the Red Letter Media guys would accidentally turn on for Wheel the Worst.
Yeah.
And then they turn it off and put on something funnier.
They turn on, they put bear attacks on because it's probably better.
I would choose the bear over the man.
I would choose the bear. I would choose the bear over the man, and I'm the person that gets asked that question.
You know what? I would choose the bear because, you know what? I think he just needs a hug.
Also, I can just stay away from the bear. The man will just probably hurt me.
I don't understand people who would choose the man.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because, like, what is that person doing out there? Like, why am I out there, for one?
Yeah.
Like, I'm the man. You know, like, what the fuck am I doing out here? And then there's someone else? Like, they're up to no good.
Andrew. Clarifying question. Would you rather have a woman or a bear?
I'm going to go with the bear. Like, what the fuck are they doing out there? I don't trust them.
Jess, woman or bear?
Bear.
No, like, for real, though. Like, I know what the bear's doing out there. Like, the bear's just minding their own business.
Yeah.
Like, I can run from the bear. This person has a gun, you know? Like, what are they doing in the deep woods? Stalking me.
Like, unless I engage with the bear, then, like, nothing's gonna happen to me. Like, it's fine. Like, if I'm there with a strange man, I'm probably get assaulted.
Yeah, and also, if it's any human being, then I'm just kind of responsible for also making sure this human being makes it out alive. And it's one thing if I'm dealing with me; it's another thing if I also have to deal with another human being.
I've seen the Blair Witch movies. I don't need more people.
Your situation is that you are in the woods, so you already know that you're fucked. It doesn't matter what's out there. You're already fucked. You're in the woods.
Yes.
The question could be man, bear, or nothing, and you'd be like, it doesn't matter. All these are bad.
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna die. If I'm in the woods, you might as well just assume I'm dead.
Same.
Start the memorial.
I did Girl Scouts. I didn't learn camping. I learned how to sell cookies.
Don't plan a rescue party. Find a body retrieval.
No.
By the time you start looking for me, I'm already dead.
Yeah. Your family will be furious they didn't call for a rescue party. It's like, he's already dead. He's already dead.
No,
it's
they're
been like
the
2
ones
days.
telling them, like, no, he's dead.
It's been 2 days, and he's not back. He's dead.
We've done our mourning. Just bring his body home.
Just bring the body. We'll take care of him here.
It was mauled by a bear and a woman.
They're still getting texts from you, but that you're like, I'm in the woods, help. And they're already mourning. They're already like,
already
he's dead. He's dead.
He's fucked.
Let's talk about Bali Hai.
Thank you.
Most people live on a lonely island, lost in the middle of a foggy sea. Most people long for another island, one where they know they would like to be. Bali Hai may call you any night, any day. In your heart you hear it call you, come away, come away. Bali Hai will whisper on the wind of the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me.
This one's better than Happy
This one's
Talk.
better, but like it's still sung by Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
It's a seduction song, strangely. It's weird.
About
It's
an
weird.
island.
It's got a bit of this, like, they have this, like, I don't know how to say it, like this, like, tribal allure to them. Like, oh, isn't it sexy that we're like, we live on an island? And I don't know. It's weird vibes.
Or like it's
Song's
sexy
not-
that there's all these like women that don't speak English that's on this island that are not off limits because you can't have sex with the nurses. But you can have sex with these random women on this island.
the way the one sailor talks about it, where they're like, oh, well, they have this ceremony where you just get to fuck whoever. Is so sick. It's like this
Like,
is weird.
oh.
This is like a weird.
There's
We don't
some
need.
consent boundaries here that like are not cool. Like, ugh.
And then like the cable guy wants to go there so bad after that. He's like, oh
Yeah.
shit.
And then
Bali-
immediately
Bali
has sex
Hai
with a
is calling me, bro.
15-year-old. Like, immediately.
Yeah. Ain't great.
All of these things do happen.
Literally, he meets this woman, and then he's like, "Oh, you're hot. Let me just take off my clothes." And it's like
He meets
boom.
this child, and he's
He
like,
meets this
well.
child. Wow,
Don't worry
let
though,
me
she
bang this
consented because
child.
she said no. She said nothing, so that's consent.
Yeah.
But she said like
She
one
said
word in
happy,
French.
happy talkie.
She said one word in French. She's like, "Oh, I'm in the clear."
She said non, and then he was like, oh, that means yes.
I know what French is.
No, is the reverse, or French is the reverse language. But then, the guy that has sex with a minor has the emotional and final message to leave, which is you've got to be carefully taught, which I think this song is effective, important, and a net positive to the world to exist.
You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught.
Context-wise, oof!
It's really weird that it's in this show, but it's a solid song.
I mean,
It should be sung by Emil, is truly my belief.
That's true. But the guy who's singing it fell in love with a
this is-
15-year-old on a mysterious island. He has bigger stake in this.
this is his like revelation, like he learned something song though.
Yeah.
Like this is him. He changed his mind, and
He
came
learned
to this.
to not be racist.
He came to this conclusion. So it is more powerful that he sings it than Emil sings it, because Emil already believed all this stuff. You know.
I guess,
Yeah, but why is he
I
singing
feel-
to Emil then? Because he already
Yeah.
like knows this.
Because he's just relaying that he agrees now. He understands.
Okay. That's valid. He
I
should be
disagree.
singing
It
it to
should be
Nelly.
Emil.
Like,
I think the weirdest part of this scene is that they both come to this conclusion and then immediately are like, "Hey, do you want to die
Time
for
to
this
die.
racist
hey, let's die
country?
for America.
Hey, America's not racist, right? We should totally die for
Yeah.
their cause."
Yeah. Nelly would love me more if I risked my life and nearly died in a war. Definitely. Women love that.
Let's work
And
for
don't
those
worry.
army guys that consistently call the Japanese people.
Japs. It's not a pleasant thing to say, but they say it like every 5 seconds. It's
do.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's not. And the history with how World War II wraps up in regards to Americans and their relation to the Japanese civilians. Fucked up. Fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, the Japanese were not good people. Obviously, they
What?
sided with the Nazis at this time. Japanese government, I should
Yes.
say.
Yes.
Japanese
um,
government in the 40s.
and all the shit they were doing in China. But it's still the army is portrayed as being pretty racist towards them in this. So yeah,
Yeah. But their main concern is that they can't fuck. So
It's just interesting that these two characters would sing a song about how they shouldn't be racist anymore, and then immediately they're like, all right, time to do a mission for these racists.
It's also just a part of this weird trope that like exists in a lot of media that's like, hey, I love this woman, so I'm gonna go on a dangerous ass mission and nearly die to get her back. It's like, no. If I am in love with you, I don't want you to go on a dangerous ass mission to get me back, because you might die. Like, just
I don't think Emil.
Come talk to me.
I think Emil doesn't give a shit about her anymore, though. I think Emil
that's why he goes on the dangerous mission. But
he's going on the mission because he doesn't love her anymore, because he realized that she's a fucking racist.
But the other guy's going on the mission because he does love her, and he's going to stay on the island
with her. The other guy is going on the mission because he realized that he fucked up everything by being a fucking racist, and
that's true.
And then he just wants to die, and he gets what he wants, I guess.
He does die. Spoiler alert. For a very old musical.
What? No! I was gonna watch it!
He shows up in Deadpool 2, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. There are no stakes for anything, not even musicals. Like, everyone's back in Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
everyone's back in Deadpool 2. Nellie Forbush is in Deadpool 2. She's still racist.
Took me a minute to get Andrew's joke, but I'm officially appreciating it. Good job. 10 comedy points.
10 comedy points.
Alrighty then. What is our overall thoughts and our cheese ratings? Andrew, why don't you start us off?
I feel like we didn't even properly discuss this show because it's just there's so fucking much to talk about, and we wanted to talk about the important-ish stuff that we thought was important. I don't even know. This is like a good show, but it's like I don't recommend it show. I don't know what to think. I feel like you should listen to the album, but also there's certain songs I would probably skip. I don't know. Oh my goodness. It's a very conflicting show that if you're willing to put in some thought and challenge yourself to think about something, I suppose it's good to watch. Maybe.
Like when we say something like this is challenging, the thing I think a lot of people fail to think, when we say I don't like this thing does not always mean thing bad. Or when we say thing aged badly does not mean thing is bad.
No, it's more like it's difficult to just sit down and like turn my brain off and enjoy it when there's stuff like this happening. You know, it's like, no, this show is challenging me to think about it because of the content of it. And I have a lot to think about here, and I don't know what my takeaway is. As far as a cheese rating goes, I suppose we should give it some sort of army grade cheese since they're always on a military base. Do they reference anything? I feel like they might, but I can't remember. I would assume the military has awful cheese, so maybe we give it a French cheese in honor of our good friend Emil. I'm gonna give it a Comté cheese because it's the closest to 1949 as far as the year that the name of the cheese was designated. 1952. There's nothing before 1952 on this list that I found. So on the Wikipedia machine.
Fair enough. Liz, your turn.
My turn. This show, it's just difficult to like engage with just because there's so much stuff that like doesn't hold up now. But it's not to say it's bad. Like the songs are genuinely good, and like it was progressive for its time. It's just it's difficult to engage with it nowadays. But I still think you should check it out if you're feeling up to it. Like it's a very solid classic show. It just has some parts that are difficult to get through. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy my experience, but I could not turn my brain off at any point and just like enjoy it the way I could like a more fun, less politically charged show. But yeah, I enjoy South Pacific for what it is, but it's just difficult to engage with sometimes. So for the cheese rating, I'm gonna give it wartime cheese pudding.
Interesting.
I can't I don't know. The picture won't load, but you melt cheese in a pot and it gets all thick and you eat it. It's from the 40s.
Good one. South Pacific. I struggle, but I enjoy. You know, the songs are great. All bangers, no skips. The story is rough. I will say it doesn't feel as long as it is. It's like sometimes we watch a musical and it feels like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. This one kind of like flew by. And I say that truly as like either out of my own personal bafflement or just generally like I was entertained. So my cheese rating is the Happy Talk Smash Burger from the restaurant Happy Talk.
Amazing.
What a fucking gift, right?
Of course, there's a restaurant called Happy Talk.
It does look like a
what a
burger.
gift.
That looks like a solid burger.
I love the fries. They're like proper potato wedges.
It's Wagyu beef too. Shit.
Yeah, go to Happy Talk and see if they play that song when you walk in.
They play that 80s version from that guy.
Yeah. The UK #1 pop hit
from 1982.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes and Spotify, Musicals with Cheese. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon, Musicals with Cheese, Instagram, Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page, Musicals with Cheese, Patreon only Wait. I'll come back to that. Patreon only podcast, Patreon with Cheese, email us at musicaltheaterlist@gmail.com. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonia. The show is edited by Andrew DeWolf. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for all the happy talk. Andrew.
Yeah.
Speed run. Tier list. Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals.
All right, you give them to me. I'll give the tier.
I will. Oklahoma.
A.
Carousel.
C or B. We're gonna put it in B.
South Pacific.
Yeah, it's very iffy. I'm gonna say C though, because I feel like I can't put it higher.
The Sound of Music.
A.
And that's it. So, in order, would you put Oklahoma above Sound of Music or Sound of Music in front of?
Sound of Music's top. My opinion.
Sound of Music, Oklahoma, Carousel, and South Pacific. I feel like no one's gonna fight you on that one.
I feel like that's a pretty solid ranking.
I agree. Also, if you're doing the mathy math right now, you'll realize this is our 299th episode.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
We are totally gonna be doing 300 next week. We're not doing some number shenanigans to expand what we cover a little bit longer.
Guys, we have never used decimal points, and we
don't use decimal points on this podcast.
We will 100% not be using decimal points next week. So don't be confused when we're 100% talking about just an average musical, because I want to pad this out a few more weeks. To give us a better starting date. I would never do that. In fact, you'd be a liar and a communist to think I would ever do that.
Absolutely a liar and a communist.
Absolutely not. We don't believe in that here at Musicals.
We don't believe in decimals. I won't comment on fractions.
I don't believe in numbers. I don't believe in numbers. My life is tragic.
And we certainly wouldn't letter our episodes.
No.
299A, 299B.
299C.
So, what will you get next week? Guess you're going to have to listen and find out, motherfuckers. And we will see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of peoples whose eyes are oddly made and peoples whose skin are a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you're 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught. And yeah, that's the message, everyone. Go home thinking about that.